So you're looking to become a wedding photographer, and the main thing you hear people telling you to do is the second shoot. And one of the biggest questions I get here on this channel is how do I become a second photographer? How can I find second shooter work? By becoming a second photographer, you could get crucial experience for wedding photography before moving on to taking your own weddings. However, you're having a hard time finding second photographer work. Well, I think I found one of the easiest ways to find second photographer work, which is with Shoot With Me. This video is not sponsored, but I recently used Shoot With Me, and honestly, it was such a great experience that I wanted to make a video about it. Now, one of the first things to keep in mind about Shoot With Me is it's not just for photographers trying to find second photographer work, but it's also for photography studios trying to find second photographers. So if you're sick and tired of these Facebook groups where you have to make a Facebook post and like 50 billion people contact you because everyone's looking for second photographer work and none of them are actually qualified to do it, but you don't know that. All you have is their Instagram and them saying that they're free on the day, and you have to risk your whole wedding by having someone associate or second shoot for you and you don't know who they are. If you're sick and tired of DMs and having to check your messages all the time, Shoot With Me is going to help out with that as well, because booking your second photographer is an amazing process. So here we are on Shoot With Me, and if you want to visit them, I have a link in the description below. It's just shootwith.me. This is kind of my main dashboard, showing me everything that's going on with me either being a second or lead photographer, and also any other jobs that I have going on. So you'll see on the top, we have our recent messages. Beside that is my profile and all of my reviews. We scroll down a little bit and we have my availability, which you can set. And you can see I can set my pricing for me as a second photographer or as a lead photographer as well. I have any upcoming jobs and any pending reviews. So everything's right here in front of me. And again, we're only scraping the surface of what this can do. Let's kind of go through it in two different portions. If you're looking for work as a second or lead photographer, or if you're an actual photographer needing a second photographer. So to start out, if you're looking for work, you'll want to go ahead and make your profile. So this is my profile here, and you can see all my photos right here in the center. I can upload a fair amount of photos so that people can see my work and know that I actually can do the work. On the right side, we have a get to know me, which is basically a nice little bio. I can put how long I've been working and also links to full galleries. Because as a photographer hiring a second, you already know sometimes you want to see the whole gallery because they might have bomb photos outside in the light, but then when they get to the reception area, they have no idea how to use flash. So you're going to want to see that. Underneath, I can list out my gear and also different skills I have. So the fact that I know how to fly a drone, I've done a fair amount of Jewish weddings, so I'm familiar how they go. I have dual card slot cameras, so on and so forth. We also have any languages I can do and payment apps that I take. To the left of that, we have your reviews. And the cool thing that I like the most is not only do you get reviewed as a second or an assistant, you also get reviews as a photographer hiring. So this is one thing that a lot of second photographers don't get when we're going through like Facebook groups. But when someone says they need a second, you're like, I can do it. You sign up and then maybe you don't get paid. I was just on Reddit the other day and someone posted something saying that they associate shot for someone and they haven't been paid for like a month, you know? So if you're on Shoot With Me and the photographer has a track record of not paying people, you're probably going to see it in the reviews. So that's one thing I really like as a second photographer is now you don't have to sit there and deal with someone who is maybe shady as a photographer, because you'll see reviews from other people who've worked with them. So at the top there, you're seeing my review as someone hiring. And then again, I actually use the system. I don't ever talk about any platforms on my channel if it's not something I've actually used. So this was when I had a second photographer and she gave me a review. Down a little bit further, we have my availability and also my rates. So you see right now, I have myself set as a second shooter and also a lead shooter and how much that would count for an hour. I could also set myself as an assistant, which would just be me maybe coming and carrying bags or, you know, just anything like that, setting up lights. Something simple like that. So even if you wanted to get into wedding photography as like a third photographer or just assisting and bringing your camera with you, listing yourself as an assistant actually might be better than even a second photographer. So this is my profile as a working photographer. This is a great way for me to show off my work. There's a link that I can share with people, and I can edit this and update it at any time. So this is almost the same equivalent to building your own second photographer web page, which I've talked about many times. But this platform just it does it so well. And again, the reviews is the main point there. It's cool and great to make a second photographer page on your site, but this goes even further with being able to be reviewed by people hiring you. So let's actually talk about how you would find yourself a second photographer as the lead. This is probably the strongest part of this platform and why I'm even talking about it in the first place, because I had a great experience finding myself a second. So, first, one thing I can do is I can go through and just browse talent. That's going to be photographers in any area. So under browse talent, this is where I can find myself a second photographer. I can load in any zip code and find someone in the area, or as you see right now, we're searching for 100 miles from pretty much where I'm at. You can see here we have a bunch of different photographers, and I can choose anyone that I want to. What's nice too is that Shoot With Me has a system where you can earn badges to basically show what kind of skills that you have. So you see here under this photographer, he's a fast responder, high acceptance rate, most booked. So those are the badges that are showing up under him. So this is going to give me even further information about this photographer and maybe make me want to choose them to work with. So this photographer here has a review, also has all these same badges. So let's see what their profile looks like. So we can see they're listed as an assistant and a second photographer, $15 an hour or $45 an hour. We have her work here. And these are very typical North Carolina areas. This is the Museum of Art here. Photos look good. They're dark and moody, but again, that doesn't matter. I would be the one editing them. 2 years experience, shoots with a Sony a7 III, got a zoom lens, pretty good. Availability is open. Here's a review for whoever she worked with. And so now at this point, I could be like, this looks great. And I would click the hire me button. From here, I actually put in what I need, what they'll be doing, and then the name of the job itself. As you can see, I can put in the name of the job, the date, the hours needed, minimum hours paid, where the location is going to be, the job type, and then any additional notes I need the second to know about. So let's actually take a moment to set that up so I can show you the next part about making your own job, which was hands down my favorite feature. So I'm going to choose a photographer. We're going to choose hire me. We need a second photographer. We'll call this test wedding for today's date. Minimum hours paid is 0. Location is here. Oh no, it's gonna want something. Museum of Art. Job type is wedding, and I'll put in here, this is just a test. Okay. It didn't like my 0. Now, so I've created this job, and as we all know, sometimes the first photographer you contact is actually not who ends up being able to do the wedding for you. So what's really cool is that now instead of me having to go through 50 different DMs, I can actually choose my second, third, and fourth pick. And what will happen is there's like a timing of when the first person can actually respond to me. So let's say I set it up for like 48 hours. The first pick has 48 hours to actually get back in contact with me. If they don't get in contact with me in 48 hours or they decline me in that time, it automatically pushes the inquiry to the next second photographer. So now I don't have to waste my life going through 50 different DMs, either telling people that it's already booked or trying to find out if people are free and then having them at the last moment be like, oh, sorry, I responded to this, but now I'm not free anymore, which is the worst. So for me, that was the best part. So I could come in here and go through and say, oh, yeah, this person looks great. This person looks great. This person looks awesome. And I'll add all of them to the job as well. And you see, I have two options. So what I was just talking about was the ranked offer. That's basically my first choice has however long to respond. And if they don't or decline, it goes to the next person. Instant offer will be first come, first serve. That's going to be more so for like an emergency where you're like, I just need somebody and I don't care who it is. So we'll go with the rank offered. I choose that. You see now I can go through and choose who I want to be my first and my second, so on and so forth. I can change my time window to when they can respond. And honestly, this is like the best part of the platform is someone looking for a second photographer. I mean, seriously, let me know in the comments below how much you hate going through Facebook groups trying to find a second photographer. It is the worst, the absolute worst. So back here on the main page, you can see here's my test job that I have not found anyone yet for. But so you can have multiple jobs going, have multiple inquiries out for second photographers, and you barely have to manage it because Shoot With Me is managing it for you. So this is honestly like the best part of it. And what's really great is the more photographers who are looking for work, the more you're going to get hired as a second photographer. So I highly recommend for photographers looking for seconds and assistants and associates, and for people looking to do second photography, even as a main job. I made a video about that a while ago, which I'll link up above. But being a second photographer as your main job, maybe as part time or just to pick up some extra money on the side, is hands down the best deal. What kind of job are you going to be able to make $500+ in a single day on the weekend? So you can have your normal 9 to 5, and then if you have a Saturday free where you're doing nothing, get yourself an extra $500, like it's not so bad. And you get experience as a second photographer, and you probably get some photos you can use for your portfolio. Being a second photographer is the greatest way to get into the wedding industry. And also, if you need more wedding photography information, check out these videos here, watching me on a full wedding day to see how wedding days are ran and how you can become a wedding photographer.